Well, so we have to move on to another conversation that is also getting the public agitated. And we're talking about education, especially at the basic level and even at the junior high school level. And we know that, Mamavi and Kojo, there's been a new curricula that has been announced and should be starting by way of implementation in the next academic year, and that's just next week.
Yeah.
So two things we're looking at. One is the curriculum in terms of the textbooks. Lists are not out, so parents can buy the books. Roland shared the experience of going to the markets, and bookshops don't even know what to stock because they don't know what the approved textbooks and the lists, they don't know about it. The other leg is what the graphic did report yesterday. It was a full front page story about the uniform. The uniform that was approved, the new uniform that the GES approved. And their concern was the fact that it wasn't easily available in the market, just a few shops stocking it, and most of them can't make money out of it. Could you ask very important questions in terms of what quality, the materials that they're even selling? Like if it's free for anybody at all to go out there and print, then how can we be assured of the quality? We've also talked about why didn't we outsource this, give it to one of our local manufacturers, especially because we know the textile industry is doing very poorly. And so we've picked up this issue this morning. Roland, you went out yesterday.
I went out and I went to where usually we will get the bulk number of the parents or the public going to buy books at this time of the year, because we should bear in mind the publishers and then onwardly those who tend to retail the books only have the markets for what they produce once a year. The other sections of patronage is only intermittent within the term.
Okay. So Kojo, you also went to the market for the uniforms.
I actually went to speak to the PRO of the Ghana Education Service. So all those questions we raised, I went to put them to her. But before we hear her response, I'm curious to find out what you learned when you went to speak to parents who were seeking to buy textbooks for their wards. Let's check it out.
The Ghana Education Service has introduced a new educational curricula, at least for basic schools, which will start from 2019 to 2020. That will be the new academic year. And ultimately, it will see the introduction of a new type of teaching methods, and a way of impartation in our schools, at least at the basic level. I know, for example, that the private schools, at least many of them, will reopen from next week. What we are here to do is to speak to the ordinary Ghanaian, either as a child in a basic school, in the public school, or private school, to see whether they are ready. We will speak to publishers. We'll also speak to those who sell the product of these publishers. That will be the textbooks. Whether the textbooks they are selling is that of the new curricula. More so, those in the value chain of the whole publishing end, whether business is booming, and what has been some of the downside or perhaps even the upside of this new introduction of the educational curricula. Indeed, we want to ask the question, are they ready for the next academic year? We're now at one of the stands in central Accra, just close to the Ghana Law School area, where we have many retailers of various items, all used for schooling. So we have massets, we have markers, we also have sellotapes or tapes, and then we all have all these types of books as well. These are the local ones. You can even find the imported ones. These are usually made from China. This one is very good. I've seen it. Quite good as well. But we want to ask Auntie Akos, who is the owner of these wares, a retailer, whether business is good. As somebody who is selling all these, and at this time when we're hoping that school will reopen next week, whether business is okay. Auntie Akos, will you speak English or Wegan? So she wants to speak English. So I'm telling her that's okay. But how is business like?
No, I'm going to be a fan. No, I check it one no. I don't mean what I shower. Then qualify why shower. I'm going to I'm going to fear no. No,
why, madam? Madam, she claims that her sale has been characterized by high prices because she claims all these have become more expensive because we've seen some upward adjustments in the prices. But the owner a fair introduction of a new educational curricula, No, by this time it's an imeng ababia na he ni can be many one member
list ba anya ka ba chake e wa wolo e onye wo he ejolesi amomu ejolesi anwende sani wolo kwan ka ba fe na kasa na many tem na agbe na da na kwa sha fe wo wolo e bia na wo na adokodogo na.
So she's saying that ideally the parents should have been given a list of goods that are or books that are supposed to be bought by the close of the last term. As of now, just about 13 days for reopening for at least those who are in public schools of Ghana Education Service, and then even less, about 7 more days or 6 more days for those who are in private schools. The list for the book purchase or acquisition for the pupils still not in. So it means that your business is going down.
Oh, that business.
Or at least it's not booming.
Oh, that business is down. No, but the I no. Nke our business collapse.
Collapse. It's because the list has not come out. That's why.
Yes.
The list will come.
List ba na le will be na ba use aham.
So she's saying that they don't know. The parents don't know the books that will be used for the next academic year, and that is why they still don't know the number of books to buy and what type of books to buy, etc.
Oh, school wale no ni ya no education esa ni no esa na anya amomiwa afite education ya wona adokodoku na list ba dokodoku ba.
She claims that the educational system is being spoiled, so to speak, if we have to do the translation in Ga parlance. But well, she has everything. We'll go to the next stand. We'll go and assess what the situation is. Government has introduced a new curriculum. So I'm thinking there should be the textbooks in town because a week from today, at least those in the private schools will be reopening. And the week after, those in the government schools or the public schools should reopen.
Yeah, we heard of it. That's why we've been sitting idly, waiting for customers to come and buy for us, but we couldn't find them.
Do you have the new textbooks?
We have new textbooks, but not all. So far, we have what we have in our buses. This is what we are waiting for, so that when they start buying, we know how to serve them. But new curriculum, we never get it.
Okay, so you have only the old stock, which will be the old curriculum.
So if the new curriculum come to the market, we shall go by that. But up to now, there's no new curriculum. We miss it, the old curriculum and new curriculum. You don't know what is going. So we sit down idly before the goose, and we don't know.
Usually, what would you get the textbooks from? Is it from publishers or?
Most of it, some of the publishers bring it themselves here, and some are from the stores. So we usually buy from the store. When it gets into the season like this, we go to the stores and purchase some of the books because of the customers. But as of now, as it has been said that it will be the new curriculum which is in the market, we are waiting for customers to come and purchase from us.
And so far, you haven't taken stock of the new curriculum?
Yeah.
You sell textbooks here, right?
Yes.
I want to know whether the textbooks you have it for the new one or
the old ones.
Why?
They don't bring the new ones.
But you were told that there will be new ones for the next.
They told us that they will bring the new ones, but they don't bring it.
But school is reopening next week.
Yes, but now they are reporting about the new one. Now we are looking for the new ones. They said they will bring it, but up to now, they don't bring it. So we don't know what we will do. We don't know. So because of that, they didn't even read the textbook for them to come and buy. And they are there.
You mean they haven't written even the list of the textbooks for the parents and the pupils?
No.
So that is the feedback you get from the parents?
Yes.
This year, today, for example, have you had any sales or any enquiries made of the new textbooks?
No.
No parent has been yet?
No.
It will definitely slow business.
Yes. Since morning, we didn't even sell even one. Since morning.
The textbooks for the new curriculum, and if you have, where are they?
We don't have in stock. We don't have even the books. We haven't seen it with our naked eyes.
But school is reopening next week.
Actually, we know the school will open this week, but I don't know whether all the schools.
No, not all the schools. I know the public schools will reopen on the 13th. But the private schools, most of them, if not some of them, are reopening next week.
And whether they are reopened or they are not reopened, the books are not in the system.
By this time, what should have been the activity?
Very, very poor.
No, by this time, ideally.
In former days, yes. Like that, you can see people are around, people are buying, and we are enjoying the season. But now, you can see all over. There's nothing in the system.
So, where ideally would you have gotten textbooks to buy? Is it from publishers or stores or what?
From our publishers.
And some of the publishers you have are?
They are Akiola, Peter Seed, that's the author. We have different authors. And none of the books, the new curriculum, is not out as of now.
We're just 7 days away.
You can see, just 7 days away. And we see our business is only yearly. And as of now, we are sitting down. We have waited for so long, and the books are not in town.
And have you interacted with some parents? What are the reasons why, or heads of schools, what are the reasons why they say that we don't have the books on the stands?
The parents are saying they should not buy any books because the teacher said they should wait. They should wait for the new curriculum books that will come out.
Maybe the market will improve, but when we have the rush.
The books are not there. How can they rush?
I see a lot of books here, but it looks like from already the responses I've sampled, they are all the old stock. We're supposed to have new stock. Why is it that we don't have it currently?
Because of the books are the new books are not available now, and because of the new currently, so the books are not there. We went there to talk to them about. The school is reopening, but we don't have the books.
Have you interacted with the Ghana Education Service officials or even the heads of the schools or the publishers? What are they saying?
We went to the publishers, talked to them about this, that. In fact, we don't. They say, because of we have the old stock, so let's hold on for the next academic year before they change it.
But the next academic year is beginning next week.
I know. But at the end of the day, we told them that the books are not there, so we don't have the stock. We have the old stock. So let's say the old stock. It's a lot of books we have in there. A lot of books we have there. We have a lot of stocks. When we now sold them, and they are changing the whole thing, and it gives us headache.
Yeah, I can imagine. So right now, what will you do?
Well, by this time we're supposed to buy things, but we don't have anything to do now. We are still waiting for the teachers didn't give the children the list to buy the things, so we are not doing. We are hold on looking, whatever will be coming.
Are you worried?
I'm so worried. By this time I'm supposed to be selling. I know that by this time we could be selling, but I'm worried.
Rough. You're supposed to be selling rough.
Yeah, but now we are not selling anything now.
Have you made any sale today? I mean, at least the textbooks.
The textbook, no, not yet. They'll tell you they don't have the textbooks, so they don't write the list to them to kind of buy textbooks. So we are worried about it. It's not something I can joke. I'll tell you that it's not true. Yeah, it's true. Very serious. Very, very serious. Very serious.
We have a line of shops here. And so we want to make entry into the shops to get an assessment for ourselves, whether the textbooks are in stock. I see that you're busy. You're selling books. I hope you're selling books for the new curriculum.
Yeah, no, the books we are selling is old.
Okay, this one you're selling for JSS and things.
JSS and SSS.
Okay, but for basic schools, they're supposed to have new textbooks on the market. And since you are a big shop, I'm saying that you're a big bookshop. So you should be selling, at least for the basic schools, the textbooks that will be for the new curriculum. Do you have them?
No, we are waiting for it.
But school is reopening next week.
That's why we are selling the old ones to them for them to study small before the new one comes. We don't know what to do now. We don't know what to sell now because the new is supposed to be around earlier August, but still now we haven't got the new ones.
Okay, and today's date is what? What date?
27th August.
And ideally, you should have it at the beginning of August. And I know that parents should have been given lists by the schools. Have you had parents coming in with lists of books?
It's the old one list. The old list, because they can't wait till the new one comes.
So they are having the old ones, and they are not coming. Some are waiting for the new ones.
Are you worried as somebody who is selling books?
I'm very worried because I can't get money this year. I have sold books about 30 years now, but this year I haven't seen the market like this. Because from the beginning of June, the schools are supposed to get their books, but right now, there's no, you can see it from my shop, no queue.
See, I've never been to your shop at this time of the year, so I can see.
Okay.
You have to tell me.
And there's no people here buying because there's no new books, and everybody is waiting for the new books.
Have you encountered parents, and what are they saying?
They are saying that the teachers are telling them that the new books will come, so they should wait.
Are they worried?
Yeah, they are worried. Why is it that your children is going to school without books? They have to get books to read. So they are very worried, very much worried.
This is Delcam Books Stationery. We want to check whether Delcam Books has the new curriculum books for the basic schools. Who will speak for Delcam? Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine.
Do you have the textbooks for basic schools for the new curriculum?
No.
Why? Everybody's saying no. Why?
Not yet. We don't know why.
Are you worried that the customers by this time should be coming?
And because as at now, no customer is coming around. Because last year by this time, you can't even stand here.
Because it's a new academic year.
Yeah,
so ideally they should be coming in.
Yeah.
So if you had, do you import some of the books yourself?
No.
Publish some of the books yourself?
No.
Okay, so you have publishers.
Yeah.
And I know some of them will print from India, China, and Ghana, and the rest.
Yeah.
And still, have you been to your publishers who supply you? What have they been saying?
They are also not saying anything that we know.
Yeah, so you're also waiting.
We are also
What's your
waiting.
name?
I'm Diane.
Oh, Diane. So Diane from Delcam Books and Stationery. Now let's leave Delcam Books and Stationery and go to the next. Let's go to His Grace Books and Stationery. We want to ask you, do you have basic textbooks or textbook for basic schools for the new curriculum? Do you have them for the new, not old?
No.
You don't have for middle of next month?
This month, September. Middle of September.
By that time, the schools would have reopened. For example, I know private schools are reopening next week.
Nah, that's why now.
There's nothing you can do. What are your publishers or those who supply you the book saying?
They say we should wait for them.
That's what they're saying. All right, thank you very much. I've loved the interaction. But it's just an overall assessment we want to have. We're just from, is it His Grace Books and Stationery. And what can we do? We just have to go back to the studio and have a proper assessment and discussion on the subject.
Yeah, so that's Roland checking out. And it's true. Typically around this time, if you're walking and you don't even have a list, they assume that you have a list. You have a school list for your child and you're coming to buy books and the market is very slow. But you got a response from Cassandra.
Well, I put the question to her. I'll let you decide about the response. But I certainly asked her about the fact that we are a week away from reopening and nobody knows which books they should buy for their kids. Here's what she said.
A lot of parents are not entirely sure which textbooks to buy. There's a new curriculum now, so obviously the curriculum will be taught with new books, but nobody knows what these new books are, where to get them, and we're a week away from reopening.
What I want to say is that the curriculum is what influences teaching. And so for our teachers, we have trained them. They've been given the curriculum. The curriculum is even online, naka.gov.gh. When you visit gas.gov.gh, there's a link to NACA. It's free. You can download. And we have also given them the teacher resource packs. And in the teacher resource pack, we have laid down guidelines as to how to teach the lessons, how to develop assessments, how to even plan their lesson notes. Everything has been comprehensively spelled out in the teacher resource pack. The textbooks, yes, they are important. They are just backups. And so we have seen that, previously, or I don't know whether you are aware that teachers tend to rely more on the textbooks and they even forget the curriculum where we have laid down, the steps they have to take to make teaching and learning the child-centered. Everything has been clearly spelled out. So yes, the textbooks is important, but for now, we think that we can go with the curriculum and the teacher's resource pack. Some of the books have been sent to NACA. This is solely NACA's responsibility, National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, and they are reviewing, they assess and approve, and they recommend to the ministry that these books are good and we need to buy. So I know that there are some books they are, assessing as I speak to you, and I know that when they are done, ministry will look at it and then recommend, and then the ones that are to be on the market to, again, NACA has even come up with a short code so that when they are done with everything, as a parent, you can just sit in the comfort of your home and text. If it is ABC book, you only get a message that you text whether ABC book has been approved by NACA, and then you are sure that what you're going to buy on the market is exactly what has been approved, and then you buy. The ones that government will also look at and probably buy in bulk, it will be done. But for now, if by September we are not done with that textbook assessment and approval, we are ready to go with the curriculum and the teacher resource pack, which has every detail to be able to teach the standard-based curriculum.
Will you be done by September with this process?
I cannot say that for a fact unless I confer with NACA, because they are solely in charge of textbook assessment and approval.
You didn't give them a timeline when you had, we are about to reopen, so did you not give them a timeline as to when you want them to finish this process?
I'm sure, I cannot say that for a fact that by September, but I'm very hopeful that they may finish, because like I indicated, they are reviewing, assessing some of the books, and we are hoping that by September we may get some of them out. But again, by the 10th of September, when the academic year begins, if it's not ready, we are very sure of the content of the teacher resource pack and the curriculum itself, that they will be able to teach, because it is the curriculum, again, that influences teaching.
Okay. So how long ago did this process begin, this approval of textbooks process?
Yes, it has started. I think it started after the training. We began with the simulation. We did the master trainers. I think after the master trainers, when people got to know what the curriculum is, and when it was uploaded on NACA sites, and then the publisher started, and so it started, and they are working on it, and NACA will be able to explain that deeper.
So we're looking at maybe something like a week ago when the training of the teachers.
No, the training, a week ago's training was for the school-based. Okay. Because we had started this in April. We started simulation, we did master training, and then we did the national, then we came to do the regional training. And so what we did a week ago was for the school-based, the direct implementers of the SBC.
So what you're saying is that this process actually began a while ago?
Yes,
more than a month ago.
Well, I cannot say that for a fact. NACA will be able to tell us when exactly they started the assessment.
Yeah. But there must have been a project plan for this entire implementation from the day the decision was made that the new curriculum is going to start in September. There must have been a project plan with timelines, which would include when the textbooks will be ready, because parents are now in the market trying to buy textbooks for their kids. It's end of the month. They don't want to waste the money on other things. They want to spend them on their kids who are going to school on the 10th. Was none of this factored into your timelines, or are we slipping? Are we behind time?
No, we are not behind time. So
until the plan that we might be in school and still not know the textbooks the kids need? Until
the curriculum is developed and finalized, and until teachers are trained and all of that. How would the publishers even know? So even though people, probably it could be that yourself, you want to write a book or you want to publish a book, you still have to wait to be sure that indeed what we are putting out, the curriculum, is what exactly we are going out. We will be going by.
I know this.
And so, yes.
The question I'm asking is that does GES not know this? And why did you not program things so that your training would happen early, and there will be enough time after training, between training and reopening, so that all the publishers can do what they have to do once NACA has approved the books?
It takes time writing a book. You don't just get up and just develop anything. This is a new curriculum. You need to know what exactly is in there. And as a publisher or a writer or whatever, you should be able to understand what the demands of the curriculum is, so that you then sit down and put everything together. So even for the publishers themselves, they also needed that time to be able to put whatever, if it is maths, the strands and the substrands, you needed to put everything together, the topics well, and then publish, because you need a good book so that we can assess and then approve. So it all...
I guess my question is, did the GES not know this? Because if you knew this, then you would have started this process earlier so that the publishers would have the time they need, GES would have the time it needs, NACA will have the time it needs, so that you can come out with a list before
I'm sure if you had asked NACA this question, they would have been able to tell you the exact time they started, because this is, yes, we are the implementers. NACA develops the curriculum and they assess and approve the textbooks. And I'm very sure, I'm not able to tell you the specifics because it is not our responsibility as Ghana Education Service. I'm sure probably if you had directed the question to NACA, they would have told you the specific time that they started the process.
And then you ought to give them the specific time by which you need it back.
No, we cannot give them that specific time. We are all agencies under MOE. We work hand in hand. They develop the curriculum. They do this, but the timelines, well, can be determined by the ministry. And for us, we know. And once we have done the training and we have a copy, or we have seen the resource pack and what's in the resource pack, we believe that yes, what's in the resource pack can be started with, and we can do effective teaching and learning with the guidelines or with what we have structured in the resource pack and the curriculum itself. And so later the textbooks, which is a backup when it comes, I mean, we are good to go.
All right. So the information then, the take home from this conversation is that parents should really stop worrying about textbooks. They shouldn't try to buy textbooks because the list is not ready and won't be ready for a while. They should simply send their kids to school, and when the list is ready, it will be communicated to them.
Well, if parents are worried, fine, they have to be worried because they need a textbook, and it's because they don't know the process. And so what I will advise or assure our parents is that we have textbooks that have been sent to NACA, it's being assessed. When the books are approved and sent to the ministry, all would know. And I know NACA would also put out their short code so that even now that they are going to the market, how sure are they? If they go out to even find some books on the market, how sure are they that they are the approved books by NACA?
Yeah, that's the
absolutely,
responsibility of you institutions.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying, that so they even need time, they need to be patient with us for NACA to finish with the assessment and approval, and then we'll give them that short code to be able to even text and get to know the approved books on the market. And I know the ones that are if government is also buying for the schools in bulk, it would also be done, and so it will have them across all our schools in the country.
So for now, parents should not bother trying to buy textbooks.
For now, the textbooks submitted to NACA are being assessed and reviewed, and when they are done, it will soon be communicated.
Okay, so they can remove that from their shopping list, buy other things, uniform and other things, but not textbooks yet.
NACA is assessing and will soon approve. And
you understand why I'm seeking this clarification?
I
because
do.
Parents need to understand what they should do, what they shouldn't do.
I do, and I'm telling you for now, at least what I have gotten from NACA is that they have some textbooks, they will soon finish the assessment. When they approve, it will be sent to the ministry for recommendation.
Has this process, this whole process, the new curriculum and everything leading up to the reopening, has it perhaps been overwhelming? Has it moved a bit faster than the ministry or GES or even NACA expected? Do you find yourselves behind time?
No, not at all. I mean, school has not reopened.
You had
but
to postpone reopening.
No, we did not. We have not postponed. It's still term September.
You put out a statement.
That is for the senior high school. It was the SHS release. Yes, it was 19th, and then we shifted to the 25th. But for the basic schools, it hasn't. Yes, it hasn't changed.
But and with so many things not ready, you don't feel like perhaps you have.
For us, we are ready. We have gone through the timelines that we attached to the trainings. We have been able to go through. We are done with the simulation and all of that, right to the school-based training, which ended just last week. And so, then we have provided the curriculum, the hard copy, and then the teacher resource packs. We have also sent them to the district offices in all the schools. I mean, it's everywhere. even the individual teachers have the resource pack and then the curriculum of the subject areas and all of that. So for us, we think that we are ready and we are good to go on September.
Okay. And the teachers, from the activities that you did with them in the school-based training, how confident is the GES that the teachers are ready for a new way of teaching, new content?
Yes, we are very sure, and we know that in fact the training really went well. They have really been equipped with the necessary skills to implement the SBC, and you know this is new and it's not going to be a one-off, and that is the reason why the academic calendar for basic schools that we put out, we have PLCs, professional learning communities, where on Wednesdays, every Wednesdays, now it's part of the academic calendar, we would have the teachers between 2 and 3 when they close meeting and discuss the challenging issues and topics in implementing the SBCs. We have trainers as supervisors who will be guiding them go through and understand the curriculum better, because as you are teaching, you will come across some challenges, and we are using that Wednesdays every week to go through that as teachers, as a family. And then apart from that, we also have professional development days, which we call PDDs, and we're going to have that every quarter. So we're going to have that 4 times in a year, so that it's also a kind of inset for the teachers. And so we believe that the training of this SB's curriculum is not going to be a one-off. We are not done completely with this 1 week or 2 weeks training, but we have plans ahead that has also been budgeted for to organize the PLCs and the PDDs, all geared towards helping the teachers to have enough skills to be able to implement the SBC effectively.
Already, we're speaking to parents who are talking about difficulties in acquiring the school uniform for JHS, the new uniform for the JHS. They're not sure where to go. They are seeing some shops that are carrying something that looks like the uniform, but they haven't heard anything from GES, so they're not sure whether it's the certified uniform or not. Can you help parents understand what the situation is with the uniforms?
Well, thank you so much. For the uniforms, they are on the market. I mean, when we announced it in April that we have a new uniform to replace the existing one, which has been in the system for like 30 years, I know some people took it upon themselves to get the suppliers, the textile industries, and then they have them on the market. We did not go for, or we did not initiate that bulk purchase from the textile industry, but business-minded people have taken it upon themselves, and it's on the market, and people can go and buy. We told them the texture, the nature of the fabric, that khaki type. The public. It was announced. And then after, we did a press conference on that, and we also did some public engagement, media engagement on that. And then people also came to us to have a feel and look at the uniforms, and we made them available. That day, the very day that we had a press conference, we opened it up, and then later people also came to have a feel, and then to see, especially with the features, because we have the Ghana flag, and then we have something like a graduation, yes, and there are some books. I mean, we have some kind of features on the uniform, and so people came to have a look at it. And so it's on the market, and we are encouraging all parents who want to buy to go to the market, and then they would have it. What we want to place on record is that we are looking at 3 years. I mean, we are looking at facing the old uniform out for 3 years, and so for now, if you don't have the uniform, you don't have to be worried. Nobody's going to sack you. Even if you are in JHS 2, JHS 3, and you still want to use your old uniform to complete, that is allowed. We want to make sure that probably in 3 years' time, we would have gotten the old uniform out of the system. So it's so flexible. As and when you want to purchase, you can purchase.
Now, I recall when this was initially announced, the explanation given by the Ghana Education Service for the new uniform was that it was to instill confidence in JHS students. But I'm wondering if we're going to have a situation where only those who can afford it and who can find it are wearing the uniform, is it not going to create that same stigma that affects self-esteem, when those who are not wearing the uniform are likely to be identified as those who either can't afford it or, you know, are not well-to-do enough? Are you not ending up creating the problem you claimed this was coming to solve?
Oh, not at all, because like I indicated earlier, yes, the old one has been in the system for 30 years, and changing it was really part of, yes, I remember we talked about the boosting of confidence. It's also part of our institutional reforms, and we thought that we would change it and to create that extension, because when you are moving from the primary level, I mean, there should be an extension from primary to the high school.
Why?
Of course, even in currently in our schools, and I'm sure even at a disco, your school,
August school,
yes, at August school, you had SHS1 having the style, probably a nika of a sort, and SHS3 with the trousers, just to create that extension between SHS3, SHS2. And even within the SHS3, we had instances where prefects had some kind of a brooch, something to create, for us to know that these are prefects when you get to the school. And so just for us to know that they have moved from the primary level to the high school level.
I get that.
And so talking about creating or going back to or getting access to the uniform, I would say that no, it's on the market, and when we are really enforcing it now and then, for like we are beginning September, the 2019-2020 academic year in September, if we have really made it so strict that if you don't get it, it will be like you're going to be sacked or something, then you can say it's going to create something for those who do not have money to buy. But again, previously, and I know, I'm very sure that I know the ministry will take it up, we used to, or the ministry provided uniforms to the deprived schools. I remember clearly, even in Ashanti region, we sent some of the uniforms to the Bosomefenho district and all of that. And we are hopeful that this year is going to happen that way. But if the government is going to procure for the deprived schools, of course, it will go through the procurement processes. But for the general ones on the market, you can go and buy it. But that's why we said that we're giving them 3 years to phase out. And so we hope that by the time we get to that end, people will have gotten. And if government is also providing for the less privileged or for the deprived communities, we know that by then they would also have gotten it.
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose my question remains unanswered, because I'm trying to find out what you are going to do to deal with the discrimination that kids amongst themselves are going to create when some of them are wearing the new uniform and some of them are not. This is a real thing. It happens. So, yeah, I mean, is this something you factored in, especially since one of the purposes of the new uniform is to boost confidence?
Once we are not going to sack the students, for me, I do not really see, maybe I don't really get your point, but in a school where they are all supposed to wear a particular uniform, and
some of them are wearing the old one.
Yes, and if it is compulsory, then the other person not getting the new uniform would feel that he or she has been left behind. But if it is not compulsory at this early stage, and you can put on your old uniform, it's just a matter of, that's why I keep saying education is a shared responsibility. So that's what we have done. So as a parent, you also have to engage your ward, let them know that, oh, at this point in time, I don't have the money, but once we have enough time to get the uniform, you wear your old uniform as and when. So it's all about talking to the kids, counseling them, letting them know that if they don't have the uniform now, it's not that they have been left behind, it's not that the parent doesn't like them, but then they would get it for them by all means. And so when we keep engaging them, they will not feel left behind.
You do realize that this is a problem that has been created because of the new uniform. If there wasn't a new uniform, there wouldn't be a need for parents to counsel their children.
But there was also the need to also change. Of course, the old one has been in the set. That's how we change our clothes and our styles all the time.
I'm asking again, why? Because I'm trying to measure the benefits, right, of a new uniform. I'm trying to measure it, trying to understand how it actually improves quality of learning.
You know, for these reforms, if you pick them in isolation, you may not get what exactly you want to do. They are all part of, we changed the curriculum, and then we have also changed the uniform at the junior high school. Yes, even the JHS curriculum, it's yet to be reviewed. But we are looking at it, yes, but it is a holistic, this pre-tertiary reforms that we are embarking on, we have to look at it holistically, because even at we have teacher reforms, even here at the headquarters or even at the management level, we have also done some kind of reforms that we are embarking on. So we want to see students reformed holistically. So you change the curriculum, you want to improve teaching, the quality of teaching and learning, and you also want to change the uniform to also for them to also feel that yes, they have moved from one level to another. And so what I want to establish is that don't look at the changing of the uniform alone in isolation, but comprehensively what we are doing here in the education sector to ensure that the academic standard of the people are improved.
So at the moment, those who have it in stock are selling it on the market, but it's not everybody. And those who have it in stock are not really sharing information about where they are buying it in bulk. So for those who want to buy but can't find it, what is the direction here?
I'm sure because it's new, when school reopens and all of that, I know people will expand. Definitely we'll get to know or get to see more of the sellers and then probably the suppliers. We'll get to know where they are. I think because it is new, and that's why we are finding it difficult. But again, anybody at all can engage the textile industries as a business person. Once you know the quality and then the style and the features we have in the prints, you can engage them, get them, and then sell.
Is the GES checking the ones available to make sure they meet the standard, that it's not something entirely different that people are doing?
Yes, the ones that our attention have been drawn to, we have gone to check, and they are of standard.
Okay. Yeah. Will it be part of the responsibility of GES going forward to make sure that all of these uniforms being produced by different people, different companies, are all being produced to the same standard?
Yes, once it's new, we would also have to find out, at least for this this early stage, we have to follow up to ensure that indeed what we are getting on the market is actually what we want our students to wear. And I know with time, when people get to know what exactly the texture of the fabric is, then when they go out, even if we don't continue with the monitoring, they know now. So when they go, they'll be able to differentiate between the original ones and probably the fake ones.
So yes, that's what I talked about with Cassandra Chumampofu, who is the Public Relations Officer for the Ghana Education Service. So were your questions answered? Do you now know what to do? Where to find what and what to do about textbooks, or what not to do about textbooks? Are you okay? If you're not, then please engage us on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Send us your questions, tweet at us, tell us what you don't quite understand, and we'll see if we can get you answers. But speaking of answers, one of the big questions of this world is about biodiversity and how to ensure that the species that God has placed upon this earth continue to propagate. Well, here in Ghana, there are some people who are dedicating time, effort, and resources to making that happen. Roland has been engaging them, and we'll be getting into that conversation with them right after these.